said, but you're saving over $300 a month. You're going to be able to skip a mortgage payment because you're going to close your loan in November. Your first payment for the new mortgage is going to be in January. She got to pay her property tax installment into her refinance. She is money ahead starting off 2026. And if she waited another 6 months before rates got to where she thought they were the best for her, she would have lost $1,800. Buying a home isn't just about numbers. It's about moving your life forward. Welcome to the Right Move podcast, where mortgages meet lifestyle. I am Kendra Wright, and with over a decade of experience and more than 900 loans funded, I've seen firsthand how the right guidance can change everything. We're here to simplify the process, build confidence, and help you make smart moves for your future, because your next move should always be the right one.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Right Move podcast. I'm your co-host and the man behind the desk, Julian Velasquez. And the person sitting across from me is the woman that's helping California achieve home ownership. The one and only, your host, Kendra Wright. And we are here to bring you home with the Wright Loan.
Today, we're breaking down the biggest home buying myths holding people back, especially the myths about interest rates. Spoiler alert, rates aren't the villain. The headlines make them out to be.
All right, Kendra, let's talk about what's actually happening on rates. I know there's a few myths out there. One, people are afraid of today's interest rates. And, the media is feeling that panic a little bit. And then also let's talk about, the long-term cost of it versus, renting.
Oh, goodness. The everyday question here in the mortgage industry and at the Wright Loan is about interest rates. So when are rates going to get back into the 2s and 3s? Do you have a crystal ball that can tell us when this is all going to happen? I don't think so. If I had a crystal ball, I would tell everybody what's
When we go out and about, how many people ask you, what is the interest rate today? Or when is the interest rates going to go down?
Oh, gosh, it's the never-ending question. And as many of you know, that, we had rates in the 2s and 3s for way too long. It did not help the market. I will tell you that first and foremost, coming from the industry. And full honesty, I highly, highly doubt we will get rates ever that low.
Blip, just one of those days where it just happened, and then who knows what's ever going to happen again.
I mean, we had a global pandemic going on, interest rates went down, the home market shot up. I mean, it was an anomaly, really. I mean, a lot of people thought that the housing market was going to crash during the pandemic, but it was total opposite. Everyone was buying and refinancing.
Compare that to the 2008 time when that was interest rates around that, 4%, 5%,
well,
3%.
I can't tell you because I was just getting out of high school at that time. I just know people that have been in the industry longer than I have who explain the different markets, and every market, there's the highs and the lows. That's what the market is. It is cyclical. And yes, rates were, amazing. And if you got into a low rate and you can keep that low rate and you don't need to move out of your house, power to you. But at some point, life does happen. And, you're going to either need to refinance and get into a higher rate so you can take the equity you have in your home and pay down those high interest credit cards, do those home improvements, life events, to, also moving into that larger home because your family's grown, or you need to downsize because, again, different, you got to go from having a 2-story house to a single-story house. So unfortunately, so many people are handcuffed in a lot of ways to their interest rates when they have to look at the big picture. I mean, interest rates are lower now than when you average out the last 30 years, rates are below average.
So what's the national average right now for rates?
I mean, if you looked it up, again, this is a national average. Interest rates, there's a lot of compensating factors that go into interest rates. Credit scores, loan to value, primary over investment. I mean, Julian, we've run pricing scenarios together.
Yeah, your credit score, debt to income, all that stuff affects, what kind of interest rate you're going to get.
You can't compare. You have to compare apples to apples. So especially when people are like, oh, I was getting quoted this rate and I was getting, well, every loan scenario is different, but in the last 12 months, we are trending down. So if I pulled out a fund graph, you get to see the rates. They go up but they're trending down.
Okay.
So, I mean, we're in a downward trend in interest rates. And that's what we really have to pay attention to, is that I even closed a refinance for someone who did a cash out earlier in this year to consolidate her debts. She had a rate somewhere in the 7s, right? Because she did a cash out refinance. Her credit score wasn't as great at that time, blah, blah, blah. And we were able to refinance her because now she just, interest rates have improved since the beginning of 2025. We lowered her interest rate by a whole percentage, over a whole percent.
Wow.
Yeah. And she was still on the fence saying wait, I just want to wait for them to go down even more. And I'm like, but come on, they're over a percentage less. I mean, if you can see the financial benefit by saving a whole point or a whole percent on your interest rate, you're saving hundreds of dollars a month, and we do not know when rates could possibly be going into the 5s. We're trending in the low 6s, give or take. But again, every scenario is different. National averages, credit scores, compensating factors. But for this particular client, it made the most financial sense. I pointed out bullet point by bullet point. She was so stuck, again, on getting the lowest rate. I said, but you're saving over $300 a month. You're going to be able to skip a mortgage payment because you're going to close your loan in November. Your first payment for the new mortgage is going to be in January. She got to pay her property tax installment into her refinance. She is money ahead starting off 2026. And if she waited another 6 months before rates got to where she thought they were the best for her, she would have lost $1,800.
Wow. Man,
so
I want $1,800.
Yeah, $1,800 back in her pocket,
Yep.
which I said you can use that and apply that money to your principal to continue to pay your loan down. So we have to look at the big picture. We have to look at the wins. We can't be hung up on interest rates. It's about the big picture. It's always about your financial goals.
Well, it's really crazy. I think when I talk to people out there, and especially the older generation, they bring up interest rates and they go, oh yeah, when I first bought my house back in 2005, my interest rate was 12%, and it's like, but the housing market was, cheaper. So I think things balance out, in a way. It's like, yes, housing prices are probably a little more expensive than before. Interest rates, yeah, they're not in the 4s and the 6s, but they kind of balance each other out compared to years in the past.
You have to look at the overall financial benefit. What is best for you? Are you saving money on your monthly payment by lowering it a whole percentage? That's a win. Are you taking $30,000 of high interest credit card debts that will probably never go away and consolidating that and getting out of your 3.5% interest rate on your house and going into a rate somewhere in the 6s? Why wouldn't you want to pay a 6% range fixed rate for 30-year fixed rate loan to consolidate probably $30,000 of 29% APR that you just will never get.
Exactly.
And I'm like, you're money ahead. You're money ahead every month. It's for your best financial interest. We have to get away for the misnomer that I'm waiting for rates to go back into the 3s. You know what? If they happen, great. Then you can refinance then. You can purchase then. You have to get away from that.
Get it now.
Get it now. Do it now. So it's like say you do something now and you're in the 6s to do a cash out refinance or, whatever works for you, but rates do drop. Guess what? We can get you that lower rate if you qualify
exactly.
again. Do it again. As long as you can keep your credit up, you're working, and we can qualify you, which again is a disclosure, is that, we can always refinance you if you qualify. Exactly. So we got to make sure you still qualify. There's no guarantees. But if you qualify and there's a tangible financial benefit to do it, let's do it.
Well, another thing too, let's talk about backwards. All right. So a lot of folks took advantage of that blip, got into interest rate around 3%, 4%. And they're like, I don't want to get out of that. I love it, and you talk about life happens,
right?
But also too, people, if you want your house that you have right now, you want to remodel it, get that nice kitchen, build that man cave maybe, or even, we had a client that built an ADU in their backyard to make some rental income from it. And, going from a 3% to a 6%, I think that's not that bad of a jump.
It's not that bad. We're not going from 3s to 10s to 12s.
Exactly.
But people are so hung up. Oh my gosh, it's the psychology of numbers. They see us. They are so ingrained of 3 that they think 6 is so high. When I'm like, in the grand scheme of things, it's gone up a couple percent. And again, in the future, if they go down lower and you can qualify, then just refinance again. Don't be. Everyone feels like they're handcuffed to these rates, and you cannot be handcuffed. You have to think of your overall life and financial goals.
No, I agree. Well, let's talk about our local community here in the Coachella Valley. People are still buying here in the Valley. Yeah, but one of the myths are some people were scared to buy because of interest rates, the housing market. But let's talk about the long term of it versus renting, we'll say.
Well, I mean, if you are renting, as we all know, you're helping pay your landlord's, you're paying off your landlord's mortgage, right? You're giving them money every month to pay off that mortgage, or if they already own the house free and clear, you're making them income. So, I mean, I get, I don't want to buy yet because, I'm paying $2,500 a month in rent and I don't want to pay $3,000 or $3,200. Totally understand. But let's think of the big picture again here with the fact is renting is 100% interest. You're not getting that money back. It's not going to anything. I mean, think about it. If you're paying $2,500 a month over 12 months, how much is that? How much money are you throwing away a year? How much money of 2,500 times 12? What is that, Julian?
Oh, that'd be about. I got to bring my.
Let's bring our calculator because we use our calculators often here.
Oh, yes, we do.
Because we're always calculating numbers.
My subject in math wasn't that great.
Well, this is fourth grade math. The mortgage industry is pretty much fourth grade math.
Yeah, that's true.
Add,
it's pretty
subtract,
simple.
Multiply, and divide is pretty much what we've got to do.
We don't do anything crazy there.
Nothing
so, all right,
crazy.
2,500 times 12.
What is that, Julian?
That'd be $30,000.
$30,000 of money that has not gone towards anything. It's not going to paying down that loan to, build your equity. It's going towards nothing. So, and if you rent a house for 5 years, what's 5 times 30?
It'd be
5 times
150,000.
$150,000 of your hard-earned money going towards nothing.
No, I totally agree. Like even, folks around my age, I'm 30 and 30. I'm 30, 32, at the moment.
And single and ready to mingle.
For all you ladies out there listening to this podcast.
He knows how to do math.
With the calculator.
With a calculator.
So, like I mentioned, I have a lot of friends, either they're renting, they're in apartments, or they do own a home, which is great. But it's always telling the folks who are renting or in apartments, hey, how much you're paying for your apartment? Oh, about $2,500. How much you paying for that 3-bedroom house you're renting? About like $3,500. I'm like, technically, you could probably afford a mortgage payment. If you really try and look at it, you just got to, like we always say, do an application.
Apply now.
Just to see.
Just apply now
See
and
where
see
you're
where you're
at.
at. See where, like, wow, this is something I could do now. This is something I can do in 6 months from now. We can get you on a plan. If you're looking to purchase you are a renter and you're looking to purchase a property and you're the main person on the lease and you have a roommate paying your rent, you can use
that's
that.
Right. Use as rental income.
Rental income. You have a lease agreement in place, 12 months of rents being received into your bank account. Their roommate's going to move in with you. FHA is now allowing for us to use that as income for you to qualify. Plus, if you're having a roommate come in and move with you in a house that you own, then you're paying maybe a little bit more in a home that you own, but you're still having someone else, a roommate, still help pay your monthly mortgage payment. Yep. And you're already going to be ahead. And then again, rates go down in the future, which, everything is, like I said, cycles, they go down. Then you're going to refinance if you qualify again, because we have to make sure we always notify you have to qualify. Don't just assume because you got a loan once, you're going to get a loan again. But if the opportunity arises, then refinance and save your money, but build generational wealth. Stop making other people wealthy. Make bet on yourself. But it comes down to me. I will say, I think a lot of it comes down to
what?
Fear.
Oh, I agree with that. Because you know what? Going off that, renting, you're comfortable with it. Everyone's okay with it. I think what's another myth that we can debunk as well is, people believe California is too expensive.
Oh, well, of course, all pretty things can be pricey, like the beautiful state of California, but we live in, I will say, probably, I'm biased, but the best state in the country. I mean, we could be our own country we really could. I mean, we're a very large state, very diverse. You can go from the mountains to the desert to the beach. So many different cultures and backgrounds are here in California. People want to live the California dream. And as much as there are people that might be leaving, there's still a ton of people staying here. Right? Yep. I mean, are people moving back to the community that we're in here?
Yeah, I agree. I seen folks, I went to high school with that, move back and start their family here.
And the great thing is there are still areas within the Coachella Valley and throughout California, because again, I've been very fortunate to work throughout the beautiful state of California, and there are still so many communities with homes under 500,000, which to some might think that's still very expensive, but in the state where they're not $1 million homes, there's still opportunities. I mean, there's homes within a 5-mile radius of us right here that are under 500,000.
Oh, 100%. And I think that's what people want, that luxury home as their first home. And I think that's what they believe in. They go, oh, I want that pool, that big backyard.
Social media has ruined us because everyone and reality TV thinking that your first home needs to be the multi-million-dollar home. And if you're not going to get that multi-million-dollar home, then I don't want to do it at all. Yeah. But start on, let's take stepping stones here. Why wouldn't it be better to own the littlest house on the block and have it be yours and live in it for a couple years, then move up to that next home, or keep it as a rental? I mean, think about again, your long-term financial goals, ownership, the power to ownership. I mean,
yeah, I think everyone takes that big step. I want to get that, jump. Instead, taking small steps to get where you want to be when it comes to home, home ownership. Down the road, you could probably afford that $1 million home. You got to work towards it, though. You can't just right off the back, unless you're making,
if you can qualify,
if you qualify for
you're
$1 million,
okay with the payment, then all power
means,
to you. Yeah,
exactly.
do it.
But not many people can afford that. So it's that $400,000 house is not a bad house to start with.
It's a great opportunity.
Especially, would you rather be in a nice 3-bedroom house, a little bit spacious, and cramped in a 2-bedroom apartment?
Yeah, that you don't own and your money is going towards, and your rent can go up every month. Unlike, where you rent, where your rent can continuously increase every year. The goal with homeownership is that over time, you'll be able to slowly lower your payment by either removing the mortgage insurance, by lowering the interest rate. So, I mean, your payment might start a little bit higher, but then over time, the goal is to get the payment down, and you're still going to be money ahead.
Yeah, I think what people are just been waiting for is a crash again. They're on the sidelines that, the housing market's going to crash again. I think after 2008 and even after 2020, there's a lot of rules and regulations to avoid that crash.
Just a few.
When I take my test, that was a pretty, intense test, and they really hammered down what do you need to know to become a mortgage loan officer these days.
Yes. So Julian has gone through the gauntlet. He did his 20 hours of education. He studied and busted his butt to be a licensed loan officer, which is very exciting. And I will say we are kind of a dying breed out here. The loan officers over the last 5 years have dwindled down. So, I mean, we're almost like that unicorn. I feel like,
everyone got out of it.
It's, after everything was so busy and then, business has slowed. It's like, well, if you're not getting closing loans, then you aren't making a living. So we definitely have seen, more get out of it. But this is a great opportunity for someone like yourself and myself, who's been in the industry for over 10 years. As you know, I wasn't in this industry in 2008. I know so many people that, that have, and it's just a different time. It's just a different time. We are, we are regulated. We're not giving out these balloon payment loans, these adjustable loans, where you start in a low interest rate and then it shoots up 3 or 4%. We aren't giving out what I call bad loans or putting you in a bad financial position where
high risk loans.
The high risk loans.
I think those are not really coming out anymore. But you working on files with you, I think that's not even an option these days.
No, there's so many compensating factors that come into play, and ultimately, no, if it's most mortgages are fixed. They're fixed rate loans. Most of them that we're doing, 30-year fix is the norm and the average. So, if you know that payment, you can pay that payment, you're not going to be scared that it's going to go up thousands of dollars in a year or two because it's going to adjust up, or a balloon payment, or all these things that happened before, unless your property taxes go up a little bit, which can happen, or your insurance, you adjust your insurance. Those are things that are not in our control. The principal and interest is the one that we have it fixed and locked in at. But being aware that, I can afford this, or, I'm not worried about, it jumping up and they're going to be some big in 2 or 3 years. I can't pay this payment unless, unfortunately you can't because
life happens.
Life happens.
I think that's also the fear, part of the fear. People are scared. They don't know. They see a 30-year mortgage and they go, oh my gosh, 30 years. I don't know if I'll be able to, what if something happens? I lose my job in 5 years and I can't afford this anymore, But same time, though, we
there's
do-
there's things that are out of our control.
exactly.
We can't control what happens when we walk out of here, but ultimately we have to live somewhere, right?
Exactly.
We all need most of us, the goal in life is to have a roof over our head. So why not be the roof that we own?
Yep. And I think a few points here to make is like, okay, you're never going to be in your 30-year mortgage. Either you're going to...
The average is 12 years.
See?
12 years is the average. It used to be 7, but thanks to the pandemic and rates going down, most people are now in their homes for an average of 12 years. But I do foresee that number going down in the next couple of years because people have things happening.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like children, retirement, different things that come into play that you're like, but again, most people statistically are not in a 30-year mortgage. They either buy, sell, refinance, or they strategize to pay that mortgage off sooner.
Exactly. So there should be no fear in it, in a way.
Well, there should not be fear, but at the end of the day, we are here to explain that it is not as scary as one thinks. And that's why we need to turn off the news and turn on the Right Move podcast.
Listen to us. We help you educate,
We are. I mean, most people that want to get a financial planner or advisor, you need to have $100,000 minimum invested to get help with financial planning. It is one of the things that is, I will say, I don't feel is taught in school and needs to be taught in school more. I didn't learn any of this until I got into the industry. And now I feel that's why we're here, is to share this wealth of information and knowledge and education so we can help debunk the myths. We can help give people hope. We can, make home ownership, exciting, or, I just feel like you need to feel like you can do this. And that's why we're sitting here, Julian.
Oh, no, I agree. I've always been a big advocate, especially in school, where as a senior in high school, I wish I had like a financial literacy class. Something that like taught me
I want to do
like life. Like
Right.
you play the game
Credit.
of life in a way. You go take his class as a game of, you start when you gotta get your credit cards, you have a mortgage, you gotta figure out your savings,
your
stuff.
401k.
How do you survive? I mean, it's a whole semester. How do you survive? You start from
I want to do a
get-go.
senior project. I
That'd
would
be a
love
great
to,
senior project, to be honest.
I've reached out to some of the schools. I would love to work with with schools throughout California and do a senior project of, home financing 101, home literacy 101. Because guess what? When you graduate high school, and you're 18 years old and you have credit established, you could technically qualify to buy a home.
No, I agree. I think that's one thing that people don't understand.
They do not, because it's not
even folks who
out
even have
there.
already bought a mortgage, even got there first, they still don't fully.
They don't. No, they just go through the motions and they can do it, and but they're not even fully educated sometimes, because I work with people that have mortgages and they don't even know the ins and outs because no one explained it to them. So they're still learning. So my goal every time when we work with people is to give them the full education and knowledge so that they have it for like, wow, I really learned something new today, and I can help share this information, and we can make this something that is attainable and not scary.
I agree.
Yeah.
I guess the last myth before we end, the 20% down you need to buy your house. That's another big myth that we should be debunking here.
Right. Yes. Well, the old school way of saying is that, well, your grandparents' way of saying, well, if you don't have 20% down, you shouldn't be buying a house because it's silly to be buying with, little down. That's, you can hear it till the cows come home. Moo. 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 But anyway, but again, it's all about if you can qualify. The mortgage payment is something that you are comfortable paying. Buying a home with little down, 3.5%, with FHA, 3% as a first-time home buyer conventional, and the numbers make sense for you. Why wait?
Well, I think another thing too, from then and now, being a new world age, we'll call it. There's a lot of down payment assistant programs out there. Yes. People helping you out, because they know the way the world is. So there's also some like mortgage companies that are going to offer assistance for you to buy your first home or buy that second home if you don't have enough funds for it.
Well, to sum that up, and as we bring this all home, Julian, I will say, as we speak, we just closed on our Movement Boost down payment assistance program. This buyer and family received 5% or $36,000 to purchase their home. $36,000. They were able to qualify with our FHA Movement Boost program, and now they are going, this afternoon in the next hour, they are going to be receiving the keys to their brand new home, and we were able to make it possible by giving them 5% to help bring them home.
You're that,
Right
everybody.
Loan.
It is possible out there. Don't listen to everything that's on the news. Don't be scared of those interest rates. Don't be scared of those high price housing out there. If you can make it happen, take the leap.
Take the leap. There's opportunities everywhere. Inventory is on the rise. Sellers are motivated. We can get credits. We can strategize. We are here to bring you home with the
Wright Loan. That's our show, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Check us out next week for more tips and tricks around the mortgage world. We are here to bring you home with the Wright Loan.
Hey, listeners. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Right Move podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, following us on social media, and listening on your favorite podcasting platforms. New episodes are dropping every week, so stay tuned, and thank you for your support.